Hey guys, this is my first Equiflora order and I'm gonna unbox it with you. I have some wish list plants in here, like long time, top of the list wish list plants. So I'm really excited to see how this goes and hopefully they arrived okay. Okay, let's see. I'm a little bit nervous because these are plants that I have wanted for so long. Oh my gosh. And we're going to be rehabbing these two in this video and doing an update, at least one update in this video. So I have 4 Anthuriums and then the 5th plant is a Philodendron. Okay, we're going to open the Philodendron first. Oh, they've got the fluff in there too, the polyfill. That's good. So they got the fluff around it and this is Philodendron luxurians. Very curious what this one is going to look like. Wow. Holy cow, that is like, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. It's beautiful. Holy cow, that came in so beautifully. Look at how dark those leaves are, dark and velvety, and it even has a little pink caterpillar sheath there. Oh my gosh, that is like, oh, that is one of the most beautiful plants I have seen yet. That is spectacular and it was shipped so well. You know what? I can't wait to see the roots. I'm just going to tear them open right now and we will get this into water right away. So this is a crawling philodendron and that means I'm going to have to invest in some new pots. I've been trying to get away with using just like regular round pots, but I'm going to have to start getting some long, like elongated rectangle pots for my crawlers because they're outgrowing their pots that they're in. So that's how they have the moss pack. I can see the little chunk there. So I'm peeling away the moss very gently and carefully just because I don't want to accidentally break any roots. I just want to make sure everything is okay. All right, so here's the chunk and it's lightly rooted, so I'm gonna be putting this in water right away. Okay, I've got a jar, I'm just gonna fill it with some distilled water. Oh wait, I almost forgot to show you guys. So since this is a crawler, hold on, let me set the jar down. Since this is a crawling philodendron, the new plant is here. So this is where it's gonna be putting the roots down. So that is what I wanna make sure it has access to the water. So not just the chunk here, so that's from the old plant, but the new plant is starting out from it here. So I'm just gonna make sure that there is water up to there. Here, get in there. I'm gonna put a little bit more water in there just because I wanna make sure that that new part of the plant is gonna be able to root. All right, there we go. Plant number 1 taken care of. It is ready to rehab in the water and I'm gonna set that one right back here. This is Anthurium pendens. Let's see how this one arrived. Oh, it's a cute little baby. It is so cute. Look at that little thing. The moss is just slightly damp, like ever so slightly. So I think that was perfect for the roots. Let's see what this one is like. I love these chunky Anthurium roots. This one has a few little chunky roots in here. So it's really interesting to see how they actually propagate and cut the chunk and then where it re-roots. Hopefully that's in focus for you guys, but yeah, the roots are like up here on the chunk, more towards the top. Okay, I've got a smaller jar here for the little baby. We'll just set it right here. All right, let's open up this next one here. This is Anthurium warwocqueanum. And I finally feel comfortable enough to take care of one. I mean, we'll see how it goes, but oh, holy cow. Wow. Oh my gosh, wow, that first leaf in person. It's the first time I've ever seen one in person. Gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous. This is my very first warwocqueanum that I've ever had, that I've ever got to see in person. I'm so excited to finally have one. Let's see what these roots are like. Oh shoot, my battery, I gotta go change that. Hang on, you guys. I'm just gonna put this little baby in here and then I'll go do that. I'll just set that up there for now. I'll put that one right there. So I ended up ordering 2 of the Queen Anthuriums because they were such a good price and I thought, you know what, this is like my shot to finally get one, and since I was importing I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna order a backup because just in case I was to mess something up, I wanted to make sure that I had another shot. So plus you never know like what the shipping is going to be like and if they're going to even survive. So I wanted to at least give myself a second chance just in case something happened to one of them. Let's peel this one back. Oh, beautiful, beautiful. We've got two gorgeous leaves on there. So I'm glad I ordered two because now they're like slightly different. That one's a little darker, this one's a little bit lighter. I'm glad, I've heard that there's so many different variations of the warwocqueanum. So that's what I found out by researching this plant, that it is just one of those really highly variable plants. And so I'm like, well, I might as well start collecting this kind of plant, and I could have, you know, a dozen of them and they could all look a little bit different from each other. Just lightly fluffing the moss, letting it kind of fall away because I don't want to accidentally pull a root off. Poor little thing. It travels all that way and then I pull a root right off. Oh, we don't want that. So look at that chunk there. It started growing like on the bottom and it curled around the underneath side of the chunk and up the other side. I'm so happy with how these arrived too. Like everyone looks good. I'm gonna scoop my little seedlings over. Oh, we still have one more to open too. These plants were all such a good price, like really, really inexpensive for what they are. They're nothing in comparison with like what they charge domestically for them. So that's why I waited and imported them. So yeah, there would be no way for me to buy all of these from domestic sellers. So they were definitely going to be an import item. I was just kind of waiting until there was enough items on someone's website that it would make it worth it with the shipping and everything. Okay, we've got a view from the back. You guys are seeing this at the same time I am. Oh, holy beautiful creature. Look at you. Oh my gosh. I have no words right now. This is just so gorgeous, and all I can do is just thank Equiflora for, you know, growing such beautiful plants and having them at such amazingly low prices. And their awesome shipping and packaging, they just do so well. That was so worth it. That was literally my best import ever to date, was this right here. I'm just so grateful, so thrilled with everything from beginning to end. Their customer service, everything was awesome with Equiflora. If you're looking for awesome plants at good prices, I can highly recommend Equiflora. I would definitely order from them again in a heartbeat. If you're patient and you don't mind importing and you understand what can happen with imports, like you might have yellowing leaves may die off, you might have to reroot plants, or they're going to come in with just a few roots or maybe no roots. So there's definitely risks when it comes to importing plants. Okay, oh yeah, we got some nice chunky roots in there. Beautiful. Now that this has come to Arizona, it probably has no idea where it's at right now. It just knows it's in the desert and it's trying to figure out what happened, because it was in Ecuador, and now it's like, okay, this is different. So I've got my humidifier in this corner and I'm gonna bump that up to probably 65 just while these guys are kind of, settling in and getting used to it, and let them kind of acclimate. This round form, I was questioning for a little bit there when I was getting ready to place my order, and I was like, do I want to include that? I'm so glad that I did, so worth it. Okay, there we go. Got some nice chunky little roots on that guy. That one looks really good. I mean, that chunk and everything is just beautiful, vibrant green, white roots. Everything just looks so healthy on that. Okay, so the next time you guys see these, I will be doing an update on how they're coming along with their acclimation. We'll see if they lose any leaves or if they're starting to wake up and put out any new roots. And then we're gonna be potting them up. So I will see you guys in the next update. Good morning, guys. I'm in the kitchen just treating this little queen that came in. This is actually the smallest one that came in from Equiflora. And unfortunately, it did end up having some root rot on the chonk, and I had to remove the chonk entirely And then I was just cleaning up the last bit of roots here. I tried to leave those on because I wasn't sure if they were viable. This was a couple of days ago, and it turns out they got all soft too. So this poor little baby is literally just a nub now. No roots at all, but it does have some nodes, and I'm sure it will recover. So I've just had it soaking in this hydrogen peroxide. So my hydrogen peroxide solution is about 2/3 water to 1/3 hydrogen peroxide. And I noticed that the leaves, the tip of the leaves, those are starting to dry finally. They hung on as long as they could, but they're definitely taking a hit by not being able to have any roots to take up any water. So I'm just kind of keeping an eye on it. And if I lose leaves, that's fine. I don't mind that at all. I just want to get the poor little baby rooted. So I'm going to transfer it into just regular water now. And the stem looks good. I can see the nodes look really healthy and everything. So, and it's not soft at all. Just the roots were soft. All right, I'll put this back in the plant room and I'll update you guys if we get any new growth or if anything changes with the import. Hey guys, welcome back. It is now 3 weeks later. Today as I'm filming this, it's October 21st and the plants are all still alive, so that's good. As I glance down here at this queen down here, the baby queen, that poor little thing, it did get the root rot. Well, actually, yeah, it had the chunk that had started to rot. So I had to take that out of water. That happened like within a few days of putting it in water. And so when I saw it getting soft and kind of spongy, I just ended up plucking it off. And so I already showed you that I did a hydrogen peroxide and water solution soak with it. And good news, it is now coming back. It has, well, it's just a little stem there, but it does have some root nubs that are now growing off of the stem. And because it did lose its entire root system, it did go a little bit dry on the tips of the leaves. I'm not worried about those either. So this plant I think is going to pull through just fine. It was a little bitty baby. It was so cute. It's basically like a little seedling warwocqueanum. So, you know, it went through a rough time, but I think it's going to be just fine. That's the only one we're not going to be potting up right now, but all these other ones, I got to get these potted up because they are ready and raring to go here. This is Philodendron luxurians. This is one that I was super excited for, and oh my gosh, you guys, like, the roots that this thing has put out. So the Philodendron luxurians is a crawler, and so you can see how that new plant is coming straight out from the trunk. So that's the brand new plant. I could actually like cut that chunk, but because it's growing roots all over the trunk, I kind of don't want to. I don't want to stress the plant out, and I kind of don't want to take the risk of trying to propagate from the trunk right now or, you know, do any more cuts on it or anything. The other plants we'll talk about as I'm potting them up, but we're just gonna get this one started right now. So because this is a crawler, I'm gonna be putting it into this pot, which is a self-watering pot. I ordered a couple of these on Amazon, and I haven't tried them out yet, but we're gonna see how it goes. And this pot came with some cocoa peat discs. I'm not gonna be using those in this mix. I have my own soil already mixed up, and I'll have this pot linked below too if you wanna check it out on Amazon and see the exact one that I ordered. But it comes with 3 little pieces here. So this is the float here with the orange straw and the little foamy part down there, and I just slide that in and hold onto the straw because I want that to be poking up when I slide it through this part. And this is the insert, and right here at the top corner is where you slide that straw through. And I just hold on to that tip of the straw while I'm putting this part of the tube in here, and it just friction fits in there. So I just make sure that that is in all the way, or feels like it's in all the way. And then this part of the straw, I just kind of leave hanging as I put on the little cap, that little clear dome top cap. And you just friction fit that down. And so that is your little float. And then your inner pot slides inside of your outer pot, just like that. Very easy to set it up. One more thing I forgot is that it did come with a plug also. So this little black part is just like a little rubber plug. I just put that in the bottom where you would normally drill a hole. So like if you have this like out on your patio or something, or where it has access to being rained on, you can drill a hole in this little cone part. That cone part sits up about 1 inch higher than the bottom. So that way, if this was to flood, like, you know, fill up too much with water, it can drain out of that part. So, you know, but I didn't drill that or anything. So I didn't do anything with that. And all I did was just lodge that little plug in there. So you have that option to use the plug if you want, and drill that little cone part if you need a hole in the bottom of that outer pot. But since I don't need that, my plants are indoors. So for the Philodendron luxurians, the potting medium I'm going to be using is a soilless mix. And I've got a base of tree fern, cocoa coir chips, so not the peat, but just the chips and fiber. And then I've got 2 sizes of orchid bark in here. I've got fine orchid bark and then the medium size. I've got a coarse grade pumice in here. Also, I threw in some handfuls of horticultural charcoal. I also added worm castings in here for some nutrients, and I think that is everything. If I think of anything else, I will list actually my soil recipe in the description box below. This poor little thing doesn't know what is going on. It's like, why am I sitting out here laying on the desk? Why am I not in my water? Okay, I'm gonna be putting it as far over to this side as possible because since it's gonna be crawling, I want it to have plenty of room to crawl over there. I'm very curious how this plant is gonna do in the self-watering pot, and being in the soil mix also. It'll be interesting to see, and I don't know if you guys want me to do another update in this video. Like, do you prefer that? Like more updates in the initial video? Or do you want to see the video up faster, like the unboxing and everything, and then like updates in future videos? Like, I can do it either way. This is going to be really interesting though. I can't wait to see the results of putting it in a self-watering pot and also in this mix, because I am currently testing out these different types of mixes with tree fern and soilless mixes. I should specify that. So soilless mixes with a tree fern base, and you know, I mean, it's kind of just all an experiment. Hey guys, quick intermission here. It's me from the future. I'm editing this video, and I just want to give you a quick tip that I forgot to mention in the video. When I'm potting up the crawling philodendrons, I pot it with a stolon on top of the soil. So chonk is potted in the soil, and the stolon or stem of the new part of the plant is up on top of the soil, and it's mostly rooted from the bottom. But sometimes when you're propping these crawling philodendrons in water, they'll produce roots all the way around the node. And so if you have some that aren't fully in the soil, you can always add the extra sphagnum moss around them just to help those stay alive if you want them to. So that's why I added the extra sphagnum moss. So I just want to make sure you could see that up close. So chonk of the old plant is down in the soil with more of the roots, and then stolon of the new plant is up on top of the soil and rooting down into it, and that's how they crawl along the soil, and they root from the bottom of the stolon. But yeah, hopefully it will be happy. I'm gonna put some more tree fern right around the stolon. Okay, so I decided I'm gonna take this to the sink because the soil is totally bone dry, and I'm just gonna water it through once and let that drain over the sink before I go ahead and start the self-watering process. So I'm just watering at this end. This is where all the plant roots are. So because this plant was doing so well in its water, I just wanna make the transition easier into its new pot with soil. And because the soil is totally bone dry, I would just feel better about soaking the soil through first, at least once, before letting the self-watering take over from there, just in case, because I really don't want to put this plant in shock. I've got some damp sphagnum moss. I'm just gonna wring that out, and I'm just gonna add a little bit around the plant stolon, just where the roots were a little bit high up. And I would like to keep as many roots as possible. So I'm not really gonna cover the stolon. I'm just gonna try to make sure those roots have access to moisture so they don't just shrivel up and die off. All right, now we'll put the insert in the container, making sure not to pinch the leaves. Jeez, get out from under there. All right, and then the place to refill the water is right here. I'm gonna fill it up to the max, so we should be seeing this start to rise up anytime here. Okay, it's not moving at all yet. But I'm using distilled water. Okay, let me check this. Why is it not? Okay, I'm just peeking in here. The water line is right here. That should be where it's supposed to be. Oh, okay, there we go. Okay, so if you notice that your float isn't taking a read, but you know that the water is in there, I guess just kind of lifting it up and making sure that the water can get into that tube is all that needs to happen there. So now it is taking the read, and now it is maxed out. So I think we're right at the right spot, so I'm just gonna leave it like that, and we're gonna go put this in the plant room. Okay, we're gonna pot up this queen next. This is the round form warwocqueanum. I'm not sure if I'm gonna put it in one of these self-watering pots or if we wanna put it in one of these plastic pots with the slots. I'm thinking Well, if I put it in one of these pots, it's going to be going into a decorative pot. Okay, let's take this out and see what the roots are doing. I'm just going to trim off a couple of the roots that are a little bit soft. Probably left it in water for too long. It's been in there for 3 weeks. I should have got them potted up sooner, but I've just been really busy. It's got brand new roots coming out at the very top here too. Okay, I'm gonna put it in one of these slotted pots. It doesn't have a whole lot of roots, but it'll be fine. It's gonna be a really chunky mix. So let's get some soil in here. And this is gonna go into another pot, into a decorative pot. It's actually ones that I just got at IKEA last weekend. I think it'll work perfectly in there. Oops. Just giving that a tap to settle some of that soil, make sure there's no like really large air pockets, make sure everything is looking good. And I'm gonna take this to the kitchen, get some damp sphagnum moss, put that around the top. We'll pot up this other queen before we go into the kitchen and go get the sphagnum moss. I just wanna check this one out and see how that's doing. Okay, so that chunk looks really good too. Very green, fresh, healthy looking. Let's see, I'm just gonna double check the roots. I'm actually going to cut this root off here and this one on this side because I think those are a bit too soft. Okay, the rest of those look really good. And look at this. Can you guys see those roots? You know that it was in the water too long when you've got roots that are heading to the surface trying to get out of the water. I really should have potted these up sooner. Oh, it's got a new caterpillar there too. I didn't realize that was going on. It's got a new caterpillar right there coming out. Oh, I'm so excited for that one. Okay, this one I think is gonna go into that size pot. So really I could have just left these in water for, a few days up to a week, and that would have been plenty of time to get them to rehydrate. Okay, those couple of roots that were poking straight up in the air, I'm sort of just like gently holding them down as I'm putting the soil in the pot, so that way they can kind of get in the soil a little bit. I don't want to force them too much. I don't want to break them, but just gently holding them down a little lower, kind of guiding them into the soil. Okay, I think that one's good. Now the little seedling queen, I'm just going to leave that in water because it's rooting perfectly fine and I don't want to disturb that. Okay, Anthurium pendens, let's see how those roots are working. Okay, all the roots look really good on here, and it's grown some new ones. Okay, there was a tip of one root that was soft, but up above it's putting out new roots, so I'm just gonna leave that. Okay, I'm gonna put it in this pot. Okay, after I finish this, I'll go to the kitchen, we'll water these, and I'll top them with moss, and then I'll show you guys where I'm having these in the plant room, so that way you can get an idea of the lighting and conditions that they're in. Oh, and these orchid pots, I ordered these on Amazon. They're from Repot, and they've been pretty good. I used to use these for orchids out in Maui too. They've been around for quite a while, but yeah, I just ordered them on Amazon. Oh, and I'll put the links to anything that I'm using in the description box, including like the tree fern, the self-watering pots. I'm pretty sure, I'm trying to do that more so that way like anything that you see in a video, you can find it really easily in the description box. So when I transition from water into soil like this, I water them in really good at least the first time. Normally I don't water this much, like I don't use this volume of water when I water my anthuriums because they do have sensitive roots and it can cause edema if you water too much. Oh, and this is another sign that your plant has been in water for too long, when it starts developing more of those yellowing edges, because the plant can end up getting edema if it's, soaking up too much water. I'm adding a little bit of Super Thrive to their water also. Okay, for the larger queen, I'm gonna put it in this IKEA pot. Oh wait, you know what? I like to use these little trays, these extra little saucers, which are actually rice containers from Michael. So I'll just drop that in there and set that pot in there because it raises it up just a little bit so it doesn't sit quite so low in the decorative pots. Makes it easier to get out. And the little baby queen, I'm gonna put in this pot. Now this does have drainage, so you could actually pot directly into that if you want. It actually has really good drainage. I really like these pots a lot, but I'm just gonna use it as a decorative pot and set this one inside of it. And then these pots also come with their own saucers, which is perfect. And then this one is in the same size pot, the Anthurium pendens, so I'll just set that in that one. Okay, I'll take you guys in the plant room and show you where I'm gonna put these. All right guys, come on into the plant room. Here's where we put the plants that we just potted up. I've got the Philodendron luxurians down here. So the type of lighting that it's getting is basically a residual light from the grow lights on both sides. I've got the Farmer SF2000s on both sides, and then I do have the window over here too. And this is a southeast window. I do get a lot of light coming in through there, but down here in this area, it doesn't get light. Like it just kind of misses that. So it's pretty much just an area that gets residual light, but not really any strong direct lighting of any kind from the grow lights or from the window. So I thought that would be a good place to maybe try it out. So the Philodendron luxurians, because it is a terrestrial plant, it's an understory plant, so it grows along the ground rather than climbing like other philodendron, like epiphytic philodendrons. So it does prefer more closer to medium light rather than something that's like really high bright light like other epiphytes enjoy. But wow, that is such a gorgeous philodendron. I would like to grow more of those. I'd actually like to start propagating those because those are just absolutely stunning. I can't believe how dark and velvety those leaves are. But yeah, I'll see how the Philodendron luxurians likes the self-watering pot and see if it enjoys that kind of setup. But so far, I absolutely love that, and it was such an easy rehab. Yeah, I can't believe how its trunk was just like putting out roots all over everywhere on the trunk. And oh, you know what? I'll show you the lighting right now just to give you an idea, but I'm gonna turn off the Farmer light because it's gonna be pretty bright when I come in closer here. So I keep this on the lowest setting too. So let me just turn that off. But yeah, I always keep it on the minimum setting. And they're pretty bright, but I like that they have a dimmer option. So I've got the two queens up here. This is the round form, or at least that's what they called it at Equiflora, in the IKEA pot, and then the little queen. That's in its little Amazon pot. I also like to use sphagnum moss for the top of my Anthuriums, just because they do tend to root up a little higher sometimes. And so I do try to protect those roots and give them a little bit of humidity around the roots. So I think somehow that part of the video footage got cut off when I was putting the moss on there, but just wanted to mention that. I've got that light up above to give them a little more top light, or you know, from the top down. Even though they are near the Farmer, I want to make sure they have something coming from overhead too. Oh, and then up over here, just ignore this plant here. That's going to be, we're going to talk about that in a different video. The pendens is here. Oh, hold on, let me turn off this light up here. The other little queen is here propagating on the shelf. So that one is just hanging out. Poor little thing, it went through so much. It's got dried tips and everything, but that's okay. We'll take care of it. It's got new little root nubs starting, so eventually it'll be okay. Okay, I'll just pull back here so you can get an idea of how far away from the light they are. So about 2 to 3 feet away. And yeah, I gotta clean my shelves because there's no organization happening back there whatsoever right now. And I've got lots of projects going on too, so that's why I couldn't film at my desk, because I got plant babies all over the desk right now in here. And normally I keep the humidity in here between 50 and 60%. It's 62% right now, and the temperature is 82 degrees. So normally when it starts cooling off, it's pretty warm today, so it's staying pretty warm in the plant room. So the temperature in this room, at least when it starts cooling off here during fall and winter, it normally drops down into the 70s. So basically this room stays between 70 and 85 degrees year round. Okay, I think that's everything for this video. I've got lots more to repot and keep you updated on, but so far everything is doing good. All right guys, that's gonna be all for updates in this video, but overall my experience ordering from Equiflora and importing plants from Ecuador from them was really good. I really like them a lot, and I would definitely order from them again, and I wanted to get this video out as soon as possible, so this is gonna be all for updates for this video, but I can always update you in future videos for you know, imported plant updates and let you know how they're doing and kind of I guess, you know, how their care is and everything else. So anyway, I will let you guys go for now. I love you, have an awesome day, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.